Hello, how are y'all? Okay, so this is gonna be just another one of those videos, not necessarily, maybe just a continuation of me talking about being married for 20 plus years and not divorced yet. And I mean, I'm not gonna file any papers. I don't know what my husband is or not gonna do. But I wanted to tell y'all about a funny thing that happened the other day. We had an argument. Funny. Some of our arguments are so funny. I mean, we even have to laugh at them. Sometimes we don't remember what they were. We remember more laughing about them. So, um, what happened? And I wish I could have told y'all earlier because there's a lot of other stuff that I would like to be talking about besides that. 'Cause so much stuff I could tell you after 20, going on 23 years. Okay, so it was Saturday, probably right after I did the first video, the intro video. So, what happened? We were in bed Saturday morning. And usually, like on Saturdays, we'll go run errands because, I mean, it's a silly thing. I used to be kind of like an extreme couponer, but I wouldn't go do my stuff all at one time. I would just kind of like do a little bit here and there as the week go by. So, at Dollar General, they have a $5 off $25 purchase, right? So, we both have it uploaded on our phone so we can get it. And we try to, do the calculation. And my husband usually, he'll pay for the most stuff. But, we try to make it pretty much where we both can get the benefits. So, anyway, we haven't been doing that for a while because we had already gone out earlier that week because I'm off work during my birthday week. And so I was off. So we had gone to the store and picked up a few things. So we was like, we don't have to do that. But we used to go and get something to eat. And we may hang out a little bit. So anyway, I play this game called 3D Tile Match, right? Love this game, right? So he knows I'm playing it. I'm sleeping, waking up, and playing the game and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm playing it, but I'm sitting up in bed. So he said, okay, well, we're going to go and we're going to do this trip for the girls. They got spring break next week. Tell me what we're going to do, where we're going to go. And then he says, don't forget to bring your veterans card so we can get a discount because I put it in for the hotel. And I was like, it shouldn't have pissed me off that he said that, but he knows me. And I said, I always have my stuff. What did you tell you? You don't have to tell me to remember my stuff. I always have my stuff. I always have my cards. I always have my ID. I always have my keys. All the keys to the cars, house, everything. I always have all my stuff. So you don't have to tell me. Right? Why was I pissed off at this? Because then he was like, oh, well, I guess I won't. Look, I guess I don't have to ask you about your veteran card anymore. Okay, let me add this too. Not only do I have a card, but because I finally got my service connection, I got a new card so that I could get service connection added onto it. So to make sure that they do the money right for like when I have services done. So I gave him the auxiliary card, which I was also gonna let him back and forth when he get his use for my daughter. So the reason I got pissed was because one, he acted like after all this time he don't know me. I have my stuff, and two, he's supposed to go get his. I did service time, but he's like a true vet. Like he really did like army time. I did National Guard. He did army time, so he is definitely a veteran. And even if I hadn't done anything, I could ride off of him, like getting jobs and benefits, right? So yeah, I was a little pissed, just like I'm looking now. Probably more worse, hair in the air and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, he gonna say, well, I guess I won't ask you about your card no more. And I said, I guess you won't. So then he stepped away for a minute to freshen up, how you freshen up. So anyway, so then when he came back and got in the bed, I said, look, what's pissing me off is not per se necessarily what he said, but just the fact that he can get a card but won't go get it. Then he said he has it. No, I could probably show it to him from the site when I pull it up. Yeah, you can do all that. But you can go get a card. I told him I'll go with him. I can park. He can go right in, get his card printed, and use him whenever he needs to. oh, he don't want to do it. I said, see, that's what gets on my nerves. I said, I can tell you stuff that's going to benefit you. I can set up stuff so to benefit all of us, especially you, and you don't want to listen. You just don't want to listen. I'm talking like I talk to my girlfriends. So it was really, and I was like, you just really pissing me off. And I mean, we sat there and he was looking at me, so I couldn't break because, you know, can't break the stare. And I listened to some other stuff. I told you this, I told you this, I told you this. And I said, and then you just keep on, you think you're winning, you thinking you being smart, and you thinking you're outsmarting people, but you're not. You're hurting yourself. I said, it won't hurt you to the point where it's going to kill you, something like that. But it can make your life a lot easier if you would just listen. And I said, we're talking right now, and you're not going to listen or do any of the things that I'm saying to you now. So I'm really just wasting my breath anyway. Because basically what this comes down to in any argument, and most arguments, whatever the argument was from your first year marriage, it's going to happen when you're in your 20 years. It's going to happen all the way up to you die. I've talked to plenty of friends, and I listen to their arguments, and I try not to laugh. Because I'm like, y'all have the same arguments my mom and dad had. They're not, first off, they're really not worth the effort. And I say that because if you would go on and listen to what the person, your spouse, is saying, you wouldn't keep having the argument. It's like you keep repeating. It's like, I tried to watch that movie Groundhog Day, so I'm trying to use the concept of it. So if it's not right, just excuse me. But it's like how, from what I could tell in the movie, the guy kept having the same old day, kept repeating. So he had to start doing something different in order for it to start repeating. Well, that's how it is with arguments most of the time that we have them in marriage. It's the same argument. My dad has been passed now. And when my mom thinks about the arguments that they have and she brings them up because she's thinking about them or whatever, it's the same argument year after year after year that they didn't pick the house that she wanted. And she was like, the house that they both wanted the house, because he told me he wanted the house 2 years later, showed me the house and all the stuff, the type that they wanted. And they kind of got it. But the thing is they both wanted it. It was about the same price as the house that they got, but he was just nervous about pulling the trigger, as they would say, to go on and follow his dream. And everybody's may not be a dreamer on dream deferred, as Langston Hughes would say, but it's always, like I said, something that doesn't make any sense. Like I said, not listening to your spouse and following through. Like with my husband, like I said, we still haven't made any effort to go get his card. He still hasn't made any effort to even have them send him one if he can download a picture or something. Still not doing it. But one of the funniest things about after we have an argument, so after some time had passed, because Sweet 16 is going on, so we're watching games and stuff. We had to watch Bama Roll Tide. They won, and plus, I had to make sure my bracket wasn't broke, even though it's already broke. But I was trying to see if it just was torn apart. Yeah, I'm usually not that girl, but I'm becoming that girl. Trying to be the good wife, because I always said I would do that. My younger sister, we both said we would do that when we got married. But she's better at it than me, watching sports and knowing what's going on. So anyway, after some time, where he said he felt I had calmed down, he kind of said, yeah, you really torn to me. Oh, I was scared. I was thinking I was going to have to call my mama and tell my mama I need to come and stay with her, because I thought you were going to put me out or give me a whooping, and then we just started laughing about it. And, it's been over 20, almost 23 years, y'all. What you going to do? You're going to disagree. And that's the point of what I'm saying. You're going to argue, but you will get past it. You don't have to let it be like it's the end of the world, especially like if you're a person listening to me and you're in like you're going into your first year of marriage, or if you're going into 30, 40, 50, you're going to have disagreements. they're gonna be, you're gonna have a lot of disagreements. And I mean, and that's even if you like a lot of the same stuff. Because my husband and I, we like a lot of the same stuff. We like having the house the same way. We just so many things we are just on point with. But we still have disagreements. And if we were to truly argue about what we don't like, we would argue every day, several times a day. Because every day, several times a day, he does some stuff that I don't like. And every day, several times a day, I do some stuff that he doesn't like. And the reason I can say this for truth is because, like they said, can I say it right? About, shoot, you know how you get, sometimes you want to tell somebody something you forget. But you know how they say about the pendulum swinging, it swings equal and opposite in each direction. So the point of that is if it bothers me, something that he's doing, but if he likes doing it, then it's going to bother him that it bothers me that he likes doing it, because that's what he wants to do and that's what makes him who he is. So, and vice versa, even with me. And a lot of times people try to control people and try to get them to stop doing things, but it's just the way they are. Like one of my friends, her husband is an artist, a creative, and he likes to do stuff with the arts and all of that. And so she was talking about how it kind of can get on her nerves. I was like, well, you may need to work on that, because for an artist, because I'm an artist, I'm a creative myself, and that expression of ourselves, it's like breathing. And if we can't do it, we're stifled. And you go through day by day, but you're bothered. You're really bothered if you can't be a creative. Like, for instance, I went to work today, but first last night, I was here and I said, I can't go to sleep. I'm trying to get some out of my purse and show you what I did, and I took it to work because I really thought I was going to get it finished last night, and I forgot to bring the tape up to finish it. But I actually had to. I mean, I really had to. I can't even find it. Okay, so this part of it. So I was doing some arts and crafts, right? And I have this kit. This one is a stamp by me. I have a lot of Anna Griffin stuff and all. But I'm really trying to find it for y'all. It was sitting right here. This is some of, well, anyways, this little stuff I printed off. I not printed off. I just ran it through the dye machine. I got one sitting right over here on, and if I was to flip this phone, you would see it on the camera. But I'm not gonna do it because I got some stuff scattered over there. But anyway, so I had to put the thing through. Basically, this is what happened. I had to put the thing through the dye. I said, look, I cannot go to sleep. I gotta put something through this dye machine. I got to do, at least begin this craft so that I can breathe a little bit more, so I can relax a little bit more, because there's so much I want to do, and sometimes I'm at work and I'm thinking about the crafts and stuff I want to do and get completed, and I don't always get to do it. So I was like, if I just get a few minutes, I'm gonna run this through, then like today I can get my tape if I don't forget, and then I can tape it up, and then because this was just some paper I wanted to just try it out with, and then after I tried it out, I was going to use the good paper that I had paid for it that cost a little bit more. So that's how some people are and the things that they do. So like if my husband, and he does have a problem with it sometimes, with me wanting to do these things, and he doesn't understand it because he doesn't have hobbies. And I'm like, it's just a part of me. It's just something I've always done and I enjoy doing. So if that's an argument that you have, or a personality trait you have where you want to control a person and stop them from being who they are, where you're thinking it's the other person, it may really be something you need to change in yourself. Oh, my hair was so much cuter earlier. I'm gonna have to roll it up today, but anyway. So anyway, and another point that I wanted to bring out of this is, I don't know if did I finish that enough for you to understand that if your spouse is doing something and it really aggravates you and it's bothering you, that it's one of the things that you may need to change something in you instead of trying to change your spouse. Like, like what I just said. I'll go with that first. I was going to give an example of something else. Well, this is something that a lot of I know a lot of women do, and maybe men too. You know how you get with a person, and then they have a friend, and you don't like that friend, but you like your spouse, but you don't like their friend, and it's like, how do you like the spouse but you don't like the friend? Because friends usually are together because they're similar. And I think to me is sometimes people are trying to control the person and they want them to be all into them. And I know a person who they want their person to be all into them, so they don't want that person to have friends, but they have friends all around, friends and family, and I mean so many people. And I'm like, wait, you have 20 people, a whole entourage. You keeping babies and stuff that aren't yours, and buying these people this and doing that, and this person just has one friend, and you don't want them to have that one friend. But then, I mean, sometimes you can't tell people. So I was just like, really? You think that's right? And this was a female I'm saying to. You think that's right? That he can't have one friend. And the one friend that the person had, they weren't going out doing anything that I know of that would be scandalous. The friend wasn't trying to make him leave the wife. He wasn't. They both were just real quiet men, and they like working on computers and that kind of stuff. But her and her friends out about doing everything. They weren't trying to party. They weren't trying to drink, smoke. Those are just habits. If you do them, that's on you. But I'm just saying, those are sometimes the complaints that people have and women have about men. They weren't out trying to do none of that stuff. But this person's wife just could not stand for him to have somebody interesting to him besides her. Isn't that something? So if you're one of those people, that's what I'm saying. Grown people be trying to boss grown people. And one thing my daddy used to say, and I mean he would preach this in the pulpit, that grown people can't make grown people do anything. So some of you people out here calling people narcissists, you may need to check yourself to make sure you're not the narcissist. And when it comes to relationships where people are so concerned about, oh, well, we haven't argued, or some people break it up because them and the person may not agree on everything. You're not going to agree on everything. You're going to have arguments. You're going to not agree on everything with your parents. And who doesn't love your parents? You're not going to agree on everything. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters. We're in the family with the same mom and dad. Everybody got to share the same. And I tell you, if you don't get 5 different opinions on everything, oh my God. And my sisters and I, oh my God, will we ever agree on anything? Occasionally. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, so, because it took me a while to get married. I was examining everything about myself before I even met a person. And I was like, how can I find somebody who's going to be compatible with me when I have the 2 brothers and the 2 sisters and we be bang, bang, banging? We don't be fighting, but, and we can get along. We grown and got our own spaces now. But you know how it is when you're growing up in a house and all y'all in there and they get on your nerves and you get on their nerves. But, they need me, I'm right there. Whatever they need, I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to them or say anything about them. So I'm trying to convey to you all, relay to you all, that just because you and your spouse have a disagreement doesn't mean it's the end of the world. What I can suggest, and that's what I'm going to try to demonstrate when I do a video about marriage, is to show that a way to handle things, not for you, for your spouse, but for you. What I had to learn, because like I told my husband one time, I said, oh my God, when we were in the first year of marriage, I said, sometimes I feel like when I'm talking to you and we're having a disagreement, I feel like I'm in the exorcist, and like my head is just gonna keep spinning round. You get on my nerves. You get on my nerves so bad. Oh, because it seemed like he was just intentionally doing things to get on my nerves. It's like, It just seemed like he was intentionally doing stuff. And I know, look, it don't seem like he was doing stuff to intentionally get on my nerves. And I think he thought maybe I probably was doing stuff to get on his nerves intentionally. But I wasn't. And I don't know why he would think that. And I guess that's the same way you would say, well, Captain, you just said you're supposed to look at yourself and see, well, why would you think that? Okay, so this is my reasoning for thinking it. All right, so one of my friends said her husband was doing stuff to get on her nerves, right? Okay, so friend, hey, I'm not gonna call your name, but if you watch this video, you're gonna know I'm talking about you, and I'm telling people so it can help them. Okay, so we're gonna laugh about it though, because we laughed about it then, so we're gonna laugh about it. So this is what her husband did. Okay, you know how ladies, we like to make sure we have tissue in the bathroom. So when we have this bathroom, we have tissue, right? Right. So her husband was trying to time using tissue so that by the time she would go to the bathroom, it would run out. Why? She said he told her. He told her he was trying to set her up so to run out. And he said it always seemed to run out when he had to go and not when she had to go. And so he had to go in and tell her. And I was like, really? I was like, why we do? She said he didn't know. He said he just wanted to see, I guess, what she would do. Okay, now this friend of mine, I mean, she won't say she's certified, but she's like genius, right? So it ain't like she wouldn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? We know what to do. But she probably like me. Like in mine, my husband could never do that. But he tried. He tried to do what I told him about what my friend said her husband did. So he tried to do it. But I told him, I said, how are you going to do that when we have the tissue on the roll and then we have a drawer right beside where the tissue in the toilet is, and I keep like 2 or 3 rolls of tissue in there. And then not only do I keep it there, outside of the room where we store stuff like pantry, we get like a whole 24 thing of tissue, and I always kept it. Not just when COVID happened. I was doing this before then because when I lived in New York, my sister was visiting, and somehow we ended up at 100 and what's that song by Bobby Womack? 105th, 6th, 9th. Y'all know what street it is. But anyway, right at that street is where New York ends, and like Harlem begins or something. But you can tell because all of a sudden it's nice and clean, and then all of a sudden you see paper in the street, and it's almost like, you know how they show the little tumbleweeds in the desert and stuff. It's like it changes. And somehow, anyway, when we got across to that point, we met this lady, and we didn't know her, she didn't know us. Somehow we started talking. She invited us into her apartment, and we went. Crazy little Alabama ladies. We went, young and dumb. So we went in there, and she showed us around the place. Really nice place. I'm telling you, she had a fabulous place. And one of the things that I noticed, I was like, she had tissue everywhere. She had tissue all on the walls around the toilet. It's almost like some of the walls you couldn't see because she had so much tissue. She had tissue outside there. She had tissue around her bed and all that. I said, why you got all this tissue? She said, if you got trapped in a snowstorm before, you wouldn't ask that question. She had got trapped before and didn't have any. And so she had enough tissue to stock a store. And so I wasn't going to try to do that. But I was going to make sure that I have enough tissue so that I wouldn't run out. You know, most of us, we do. And so anyway, I mean, that's a long story. But sometimes you got to have one so you'll know what, get the gist. So yeah, so I always keep enough. And then if I happen to tear off too much, or I have extra napkins or something, in my purse or whatever, I'll put them in there. I'm laughing because I thought about Deion Cole telling that joke about why black folks always have all this tissue. We get all the napkins and stuff at the store. And I do. And like I said, I'll put some extra in there. Because I said, so if he ever were to get it where it run out and there would be none, I still got some in the drawer, my little secret drawer. So, and I've only had to use it one time. But I'm just saying, back to all of this and through all of this. Besides, people sometimes set you up, but they set you up and want to argue. Don't let things like that be a reason for you to get divorced. Because do you see how minor that is? And in our case, with me and my husband, we end up laughing about it. And we laugh so much, like we got this one I call between us famous argument that we laughed. And in this one, I can't even remember what we were arguing about. But I came home and I was fussing at him about something he had done and da 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 da. And then I said, because my husband's a low down dirty cusser. That's what a lady told me about her daughter one time. He a low down dirty cusser, right? And I said, so, and after I finished telling him about what I was mad about, and I said, and I know that in your mind that you are calling me all kinds of B's, because I don't cuss. You calling me all kinds of B's and H's and all that stuff, and I don't care. Well, and I'm still fussing and mad. And he was in the bed and he got up and he was just laughing. And he just walked around the whole room laughing. I'm like, I'm getting mad at what you laughing at? And he was like, you talking about all kinds of B's and H's. I can't even cuss in the argument. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up laughing about that, and we still laugh about that to this day. So sometimes, argue, and then when you get to the place where you can laugh at it. Because you're going to argue. Sometimes it is funny. And if you feel it's really heavy and that you can't laugh at it, the same friend gave me some more good advice. She said, when things aren't going well and we have an argument, I have to deal with it. You know how the Bible says, don't let the sun go down in anger. And we do sometimes. So we're wrong. Not the other person. We have to sometimes let go. And so she said, I try not to let my anger about a situation go past at least 30 days. By that time, I have to let it go. I have to start over. I have to release it. And I said, well, yeah, you just said don't let the sun go down. That's my friend. But I said, but hey, sometimes when you can't, okay, that's a lot, but it's reasonable. Because some people will keep an argument or disagreement going on. Every time you have an argument, you got to bring up every other argument that you have. We have to release some of that stuff. And sometimes you're just not going to get what you want. And does that mean that the person doesn't love you? That doesn't necessarily mean that the person doesn't love you. Okay? Is that good enough? Did I get the point to you? That just because you have an argument doesn't mean that there's not love there. Some people would say that passion shows that there is a love. I'm saying you don't have to have that passion in order to show love or prove love. But don't let it be a reason that you don't or you feel unloved. And maybe it was just me in the first years of marriage thinking that that's the way love goes. Maybe it was just me. But if it's not just me and it's you, just know that an argument doesn't mean that the world is going to end. It just means you get a chance to make up. But don't go arguing trying to make up either, because you don't have to make up just because you have an argument. You can just make up because it's time to make up. You know what I'm saying? Did I get it through? If you understand what I'm saying, just tell me. We got the comment section. You can tell me if you need some more clarification. Hey, you can tell me that too. Because I did several situations and stories, all to try to lead back to, because I know, I talked to a bunch of people, y'all. I know that a lot of people think that an argument is the end of the world and that it's the end of a marriage. And if we argue all the time, well, if you do, analyze yourself and your spouse to see why. Because like I said, a lot of time it's still going down to that one thing. And it's still for us. I'm not going to argue about it every day. I'm not going to argue with my husband about the same thing every day. Because if I was to have to argue with him about it every day, then yeah, we probably would get divorced. And I promised to be with him through rich or poor, sickness and health, to death do us part. And probably some more stuff in there I agreed to. I can't remember right now. But I've heard my dad say it on vows plenty. I mean, said it to people getting married plenty of times. I've even looked up some verses with him in the Bible where it talks about, the parts of the wedding vows. And so what I'm saying is, I want to keep my promise because we can find a lot of reasons. We could find a whole lot of reasons to divorce. I'd have to tell y'all another time about how we used to throw up. But if you go get the papers, then I'll sign them. We used to do that. Oh, yeah, we used to do that. So, anyway, it's getting long. I'm going to say goodbye. Just let me know if I need to clarify anything. But I'll be coming back with some more. And like I said, I want to come and do some examples, and I want to nail it down to one little point at the end of what the point I'm making. And the point is, you're going to argue sometimes, you're going to disagree with people sometimes, but you're not going to change your mama, you're not going to change your daddy, you're not going to change your sisters, you're not going to change your brothers. So you might as well not change your spouse. And you can, but if you do, it's going to be like this lady told me at the mailbox when we were at the post office one day, because I used to work there. And she came in, and it just so happened we talked about nothing real quick. We were in 5 minutes. And she told me how she was on her second marriage. In a matter of a minute or two. And then she said, so I asked her before she left, and she was leaving out, I said, oh, was there a big difference between the first and the second? She's like, no, I should have stayed with the first one because it's the same thing. So anyway, you don't have to keep changing people. Change you. Bye. Subscribe, like, bye.